Imagine this. One moment, the sun is there, and then suddenly, it's gone. What do you think would happen? The sun, our celestial powerhouse, is a vital life force for our planet. Its light and warmth provide the fundamental conditions necessary for life as we know it. It's hard to fathom, but let's dare to explore this hypothetical scenario of our sun's sudden disappearance. Our brilliant sun, this giant ball of hot, glowing gases, sits at the center of our solar system, roughly 93 million miles away from Earth. Yet, its influence reaches far beyond its fiery surface, impacting every aspect of our lives. From enabling photosynthesis in plants to driving the weather patterns and climate, the sun's role is all-encompassing. But what if, in an unexpected twist of cosmic events, the sun was to suddenly vanish from the sky? How would our blue planet react to the abrupt loss of its primary source of light and heat? What transformations would it undergo, and how quickly would these changes occur? The sun's sudden disappearance wouldn't just plunge the world into darkness, but it would set off a series of catastrophic events that would drastically transform our planet. From a swift drop in temperature to the cessation of all photosynthesis, the immediate effects would be stark and severe. But before we delve into these immediate effects, let's ponder a little more. The sun's disappearance wouldn't just mean the loss of our primary light and heat source. It would also mean the loss of the gravitational pull that keeps Earth and other planets in their respective orbits. The consequences of this loss are far-reaching and truly mind-boggling. The sun's sudden absence would be like removing the heart from an organism. It's an unthinkable scenario, but contemplating it gives us a profound appreciation for the sun and its significance in our lives. Our very existence is tied to this glowing orb in the sky. Now, are you ready to plunge into this darkness and explore the immediate aftermath of the sun's disappearance? Let's delve into the immediate effects of the sun's disappearance. So the sun has just disappeared. The first thing we notice is the absence of sunlight. It's as if someone has instantaneously flipped the switch, plunging our world into darkness. Picture this. One moment you're basking in the warm afternoon sun, the next, it's starless night. Now, the sun doesn't merely light our world, it also warms it. Without the sun's heat, our planet would begin to cool, and rather quickly at that. Within a week, the average global surface temperature would drop below freezing. And in a year? Well, we'd be dealing with temperatures plummeting to minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's colder than the coldest temperature ever recorded in Antarctica. This rapid cooling would have severe implications for life on Earth. Most obvious would be the impact on plants. Without sunlight, photosynthesis grinds to a halt. This would be a death sentence for plants, but the ripple effects would be catastrophic. Herbivores, without plants to eat, would soon starve. Carnivores, in turn, would lose their food sources. The entire food chain would collapse, leading to a mass extinction event. And it doesn't stop there. The lack of sunlight would also affect our weather. The sun is the engine that drives our weather systems, powering winds and the water cycle. Without the sun's energy, the winds would stop and rainfall would cease. Our world would become a very still, very cold place. But what about our oceans, you might ask? Initially, the water's thermal inertia would keep the oceans from freezing. But over time, without the sun's heat, even the deep-sea creatures would find themselves swimming in a global icebox. But that's just the beginning. Let's look at the long-term impacts. As days turn into weeks and then months, the lack of sunlight and heat from the sun would have severe consequences. Let's delve into the long-term impacts of the sun's sudden disappearance. Firstly, without the sun's warming glow, the oceans on Earth would begin to freeze, starting from the surface and gradually extending downwards. This would result in a drastic decline in marine life, disrupting the food chain and ecological balance. Moreover, the freezing of oceans would also disrupt the water cycle, leading to a severe reduction in rainfall and, consequently, an increasingly arid and inhospitable world. Secondly, the sun plays a pivotal role in maintaining our atmosphere. The sun's heat helps to keep gases in the atmosphere. Without the sun, these gases would slowly escape into space, causing our protective atmospheric layer to thin out. This loss of atmosphere would expose the Earth to cosmic radiation and space debris, transforming our planet into a barren and lifeless world. Lastly, the sun's gravitational pull keeps the Earth and the Moon in their orbits. If the sun were to disappear, this gravitational tether would be severed. The Earth and the Moon could potentially be thrown off their orbits, careening uncontrollably through space. This would be the final nail in the coffin, marking the end of life as we know it. The long-term effects of the sun's disappearance are harrowing to consider. from the freezing of our oceans to the loss of our atmosphere, and the potential for Earth and the Moon to be cast adrift in space, life as we know it would cease to exist. As you can see, life as we know it would cease to exist without the sun. But there's more to consider. The disappearance of the sun presents a catastrophic scenario, highlighting just how vital this star is to our existence. The sun, our very own celestial powerhouse, plays an unparalleled role in our survival. Without its radiance, our world would plunge into a terrifying darkness and a bone-chilling cold. Its absence would not only rob us of light and warmth, but also set in motion a chain of events that would ultimately result in the extinction of life on Earth. Take a moment to consider the immediate effects of the sun's disappearance. The sudden transition from day to night, the rapid plummet in temperatures, and the consequent devastation of our ecosystem. Plants, which rely on sunlight for photosynthesis, would wither and die, setting off a domino effect that would lead to the death of herbivores and, subsequently, carnivores. The long-term impacts are even more distressing. Without the sun's heat, our oceans would freeze over, disrupting marine life and the water cycle. The loss of the sun's warmth would also cause the gases in our atmosphere to escape into space, leaving Earth a barren and desolate planet. And let's not forget the gravitational havoc. Without the sun's gravitational pull, both the Earth and the Moon could be tossed out of their orbits. This bleak picture underscores the critical role the sun plays in our lives. It's a constant life-giving force that sustains our world, from the smallest microorganism to the mightiest of beasts. It supports the growth of our food, powers our climate, and even drives the very processes that create the oxygen we breathe. In essence, our sun is a beacon of life, a celestial body we often take for granted. Its importance cannot be overstated. It's a reminder that we should appreciate this brilliant star that rises every morning to breathe life into our world. But don't worry, the sun isn't going anywhere anytime soon. While the sun won't disappear overnight, it's worth considering what will happen when it eventually dies out. You see, the sun is a star, and like all stars, it has a life cycle. Currently, our sun is in its main sequence stage, burning hydrogen to produce helium in its core. But in approximately 5 billion years, the sun will have exhausted its hydrogen supply. The core will contract and heat up, causing the sun to expand into a red giant. This will be a dramatic shift, with the sun growing so large that it may even swallow up the inner planets, including Earth. After that, the sun will shed its outer layers, leaving behind a hot core about the size of Earth. This white dwarf will eventually cool and darken over billions of years, becoming a black dwarf. But don't worry, by that time, our sun's story will be a tale told in the cosmic past. Now that's a long way off, but it's still a sobering thought. We rely on the sun for life as we know it. So what's humanity to do? Well, we've got time on our side and an insatiable curiosity. Scientists are already exploring the potential for technological advancements to help us find a new solar system or harness energy from other sources. In the future, we might even be able to travel to other stars or engineer our own sun. It's an enormous challenge, but if history tells us anything, it's that humans are capable of incredible feats when equipped with knowledge and technology. So, while the sun's disappearance is a fascinating hypothetical, it's not something we need to worry about in our lifetime. Instead, let's appreciate its importance and do our best to protect our planet. In the grand scheme of the universe, our sun's life is fleeting, but its impact on us is profound. So let's continue to learn, explore, and always reach for the stars.